Hello and welcome back to another episode of RE Radar. Once again, I am your host and realtor, Nathan Mathisen. And if this is your first time tuning in, let me just give you a quick rundown about what we are all about here at RE Radar. Here on the Radar, we are all about educating people on real estate and kind of helping to expand your guys' knowledge on real estate, whether you're a buyer, a seller, or a hopeful future home buyer. This podcast's main goal is to inform you guys on that and make it so that you're better equipped when you're getting into a real estate transaction. Today, how I'm going to be providing that education to you guys is by discussing as-is sales. The pros, the cons, and everything in between with an as-is sale. Now, just getting started, what is an as-is sale, you might be asking? So an as-is sale is when a homeowner is selling their property in its current condition and will be making no repairs or improvements before the sale is finalized. Now, an often case where we see these as-is sales is during some type of power of attorney or some type of a sale where the seller actually didn't live in the home. In these cases, someone might just be looking to make as much money possible off of it. They're not looking to have to worry about these repairs or know the history of the property as well. And so they're just going to do an as-is sale. Now, for a buyer, these as-is sales can be both a good thing and a bad thing. Isn't that just life? There's always good, there's always bad. Now, the first pro and most obvious pro in my eyes to an as-is sale is that more often than not, this as-is sale is going to be discounted compared to other comparable homes on the market that are up for sale, not as an as-is sale. As-is sales will typically be lower priced. So a person who perhaps will feel the best benefit out of these discount in an as-is sale is someone who's a little handy themselves and can do some manual labor to this home that they're buying to really improve it just slightly by themselves. So if you're that type of person, then you're going to especially see that discount in the as-is sale. And just a bit of a tangent here. If you remember from the first Tuesday tour video I did, I don't know if you guys watched that. That's on my YouTube page. So check that out if you haven't. But on my first Tuesday tour, I did a video on an as-is sale. The home that I toured was listed for $1.1 million and it was an as-is sale. That home needed some work done. But that's what is typical with as-is sales. They need a little bit of work. And in this case, this home was listed in an area and comparable homes to it that had been updated already. Those homes were going for around $1.5 million. So in this case of this $1.1 million house, when it had been listed, had someone bought that home for $1.1 million, you could say they had maybe $300,000 wiggle room, $400,000 wiggle room to still be able to make a profit potentially off of this purchase if they were looking to then flip it. Or, of course, you don't have to buy an as-is home, do the repair work, and then sell it again. You could simply say, I bought this house at this discounted rate, and now look at it. You could simply buy the house as is sale, make some improvements to it, or you don't have to, but if you make some improvements to it, value is going to increase, and you're going to be living in this higher end home that you got in at a discount. The reason I brought that up is so that I could give you guys some real actual numbers with that as is sale tour of the $1.1 million listed home, while others in that area that weren't as is sales and were more updated were going for $1.5 million. So that's a $400,000 price difference there. That's a discount. And those great discounts could allow you to potentially get into certain neighborhoods that at first glance you might be thinking to yourself, oh, I can't live there. I'm not going to be able to afford there. When in fact, if a home in that neighborhood goes as an as-is sale, maybe it's low enough to where you can get into that neighborhood and then you're in and can slowly start building that home up to where it's then equivalent to these other homes in the neighborhood. Now, obviously, as I mentioned before, this is the pros and cons of as-is sales. So I've discussed how it can be a great deal, a great thing for buyers to potentially get into a home they can't usually afford, or for profit flipping homes. But there is a catch, and that catch, of course, is that it is an as-is sale, which means what you get is what you get. What you buy is what it's going to be. There's nothing that's going to be done to that house between the time you look at it first, write your offer up, purchase the home, and close on it. Nothing's going to change. And again, often with those as is sales, they're power of attorney, or they're a case where the seller really doesn't have knowledge of this home. So who knows really what potential hidden defects could be at this house. It's just a simple fact in most cases that it is going to be more of a risk to buy an as-is sale versus a home that is not an as-is sale. And really with these as-is sales, and if the market can allow for you to do this, you want to put in as many potential contingencies into your offers to then be able to have outs if something were to go wrong before it closed. Let's say you put in an offer on an as-is home, seller accepts it, you had fallen in love with this home. When you first checked it out, it was opening weekend, you decide you need this home. Tell your agent, I want this home, give it 5% above list price, right in the offer. I'll waive all my inspection contingencies, all those contingencies. First thing for you is you probably picked the wrong agent, because that does not seem like necessarily the best of offers to write in this situation that I've drawn up for you guys. You really need to be doing that due diligence on an as-is sale, even more so than on non-as-is sales. You're always doing due diligence, and you always want your realtor to be doing that due diligence. But with an as-is sale, because of just the question marks surrounding it, you want to do a lot of due diligence. Because in that scenario that I just drew up for you guys, where someone falls in love with a home that's as-is sale, 5% above list price, no contingencies, they write it up, send it in, seller accepts that. Let's say 2 weeks later, before you've even closed, you end up realizing that house is going to need a new roof. It has foundation issues as well. And it's going to be all your problem. That's all your problem. Roof issue, foundation issue, it doesn't matter what the issue is. It was an as-is sale. You didn't have any sort of inspection contingencies or anything like that. You waived them all. That's going to be your issue to deal with. It's going to go into your possession. You're going to be paying for it. And so that's why I kind of almost would, it's hard to say never, but I would strongly advise against waiving those inspection contingencies on an as-is sale. I have nothing against as-is sales. As I talked about the pros, they can be an amazing deal. But it's just that you're going to want to be doing that due diligence. You're going to want to be putting in some contingencies so that perhaps, worst case, something bad happens, you can get out of that deal, or you have a better chance at getting out of that deal, we'll say. Without those contingencies in place, you've got about zero chance. It's yours. You're stuck with this massive money hole, which is what it'll become. Now, another point that I want to kind of harp on, and I'll return right here to the definition. What is an as-is sale? It's the homeowner is selling the home in its current condition and will make no repairs or improvements. Now, in a normal transaction, all attached fixtures are going to convey, unless specifically stated. In an as-is sale, all of those attached fixtures are going to be conveying, but you also could actually be getting everything from the house, unless stated otherwise. What that means, everything from the house, I'm talking about the silverware in the drawers. I'm talking about the old couches, the random tools, the toys, whatever is in the house or on the property. You're getting that. It's a true as-is sale. It is what it is. Essentially, you get what you pay for. And so that could then lead to maybe unexpected costs and hassles that you had not been originally expecting when buying this home. You understood it's an as-is sale in terms of the seller's not going to be making any improvements, but as-is sales also can sometimes convey all the junk that a seller leaves behind. Now, a little advertisement here, just harping on kind of what I talk with here on the radar. It's very, very key that you have the education and knowledge, and you get represented by a realtor that understands all of these different intricacies, and they can then help you best embark on this home buying journey or home selling journey. Because there's been a lot of talk more recently this year in the news about if people really even need to use a real estate agent when buying a home. The answer to that is still a resounding yes. Even with the new rules in place and buyers having to sign this buyer's agreement before an agent can help them, having a real estate agent by your side is going to be the best way for you to find the dream home and be happy with the end product. If you don't work with a real estate agent, you won't have an expert in your corner. Well, that seller, they're going to have a real estate agent. They're going to have an expert in their corner that is going to be looking out for their best interest. And you've got no expert. Housing, as if you've been listening to this podcast or looking into real estate at all, you'll find that it is very complicated. There's a lot of different intricacies and a lot of different moving parts, and you want to have that expert in your corner as a buyer advocating for you. So now that I've gotten that out of the way, that little tangent on talking about the importance of having this real estate agent with these transactions, with the intricacies, how complicated they can be, discussing the as-is sale with how it is a potential pro in terms of you can get a home at a discounted rate. But you have to, of course, also be aware of the potential cons, with it potentially having a higher risk for something to be wrong with the property. So now that I've discussed the as-is sale, this is a solo episode. What does that mean? It is time to take a look at a random U.S. city and check out their real estate market and see what is kind of going on there. And for today's random U.S. city, what I got spit out from the generator was Davenport, Iowa. Davenport has a 2024 estimated population of 99,921. That is down from 2020 by about 1.6%. 2020 was 101,000. Now it's Iowa. So at least for me, what comes to mind is cornfields and farmlands. And from my quick look on the map, it appears Davenport doesn't really have too much farmland per se in Davenport. It's more of a city, business city. Now, Davenport is actually the home of several successful Fortune 500 companies, including Kraft Heinz, Sterlite Corporation, Nestle, Purina, Sears Manufacturing, and John Deere. But what you're all here for is the real estate market. Is Davenport a good real estate town? And using data from September, we can see that real estate in Davenport's median sale price was $196,000, up 6.2% compared to last year. Looking at the 5-year graph here, the median sale price, you can see it's been pretty consistently slowly rising for about 10 to 20,000 each year. Just highlighting that now with the actual numbers versus percentages, because I don't know about you, but that can be a little easier for me to visualize seeing numbers. And what we can see in 2020, median sale price in September was $144,000. In 2021, that number grew to $158,000. In 2022, that number grew to $165,000. 2023, $184,000. Now, 2024, it is $196,000. So in 4 years, it has gone up $52,000. And so the Iowa population in Davenport is slightly decreasing, but so far the real estate market has shown that it's staying consistent and actually growing year over year. Now, what type of home can you get though in Davenport? What's your money buying? At the time that I was prepping this episode here, what I found was 239 homes, condos, townhomes active on the market. The cheapest of those 239 was a 2-bed, 1-bath, listed for $21,000. The most expensive, a $1.2 million 5-bed, 2.5-bath house sitting on 60 acres. And then, of course, there's the one that I picked to showcase you guys. Neither of those two, I'm sorry. This one is a 3-bed, 1.5-bath, 960 square foot home listed for $195,000, right there at the median. At first glance, this looks like a fine home. It appears to be updated LVP flooring throughout the kitchen and living room. Home isn't going to knock your socks off with appeal or style, but coming from someone with the Seattle real estate market on their mind, $195,000 for this piece of property. When in Seattle, that'll get you a tiny condo, studio, it might even be, probably not even a 1-bedroom, or a houseboat. So this $195,000 home does not look too bad to me. But now that wraps up all the time we have today. I hope everyone managed to take away something useful from this episode, as that's really the goal every time. I want you guys to take away something and be like, okay, that was nice. That was useful. That was good information. That's what I'm always thriving for. And I'd like to just thank everyone for watching and thank you for listening. I'll see you next week on the radar with Tuesday Tours on the docket. Peace.